Okay, so this just in at approximately 5:30 a.m., February 1st in Nepyata, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Burma or Myanmar. The government has been taken over by military coup. So the time here is January 31st at about, I don't know, 10 p.m., but they're about 11 hours ahead of us, so it's already February 1st over there. And this is a very big deal. So the president of Myanmar won by a landslide the popular vote. So they are attempting to have a democracy over there. Um, and the president, Aung San, is a female president, won by a landslide in this election. And then, of course, immediately afterwards, the military regime that's taken over. And I believe that one of the gentlemen in the military was her vice president that assisted in this, claimed that it was a false election, election fraud. Sound familiar? And have taken over, and they've stated that they are holding control of the government for cough cough 1 year. Um, so this, I mean, there's a lot going on here, and I realize that this doesn't seem like anything to us because Myanmar is so far away, and I'm not completely sure what this is about because I don't understand enough about their history and how they're interconnected with the global market and other countries. But this is certainly something we should all be looking into right now because this is serious. This is big stuff. So the chart if you want to look at this, the chart you're setting up for the event is going to be February 1st, 2021 at I've got it at 5:30 a.m. because we don't have exact times based on Twitter feeds and information coming through Twitter. It was about 5:30 a.m. And look up the capital city of Burma or Myanmar, which would be Naypyidaw. You'll have to look it up. Um, and this is the chart we have set up. So the chart that I have, we have 22 Capricorn rising. Venus and Pluto are at the very top of the chart near your ascendant. And you've got all those Aquarius planets, that train of Aquarius planets sitting in the first house. And this is what I'm using to show or represent the leaders or the leadership that's just been taken over by coup. So the queen has been captured, which would be the president of Myanmar, who's obviously not president right now. Little difficult to be president when you're being held hostage. Now, with that said, that means that the seventh house becomes the military operants that organized and performed this coup. They would be ruled by the moon. The moon in this chart is in the eighth house. So, and it also co-rules the event. So this is going to tell us a lot of stuff. The first thing is the moon is not strong in Virgo. The moon does not like being in Virgo. It's very uncomfortable there. But it functions well enough because it's very detail oriented. The problem is with Moon in Virgo, it's very short sighted. It's the whole can't see the forest for the trees. So it sees what's right in front of it, but it doesn't see the big picture. So there's already some handicaps here in terms of short sightedness on the part of the people who have performed the coup. Very thorough, very detail oriented, very exacting, but there's vision. There's a problem with vision here. Now, when we look at the moon in this chart, the moon sets up, it's already moved past that Mars and Uranus down in that fourth house of the country, which would be the nation, by trine. And that was a while ago. So this is not something that just happened. This has been something, if I'm reading this correctly, this is something that's been planned for a long time. So there's been a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes to build up to this. And with this moon set up in their second house, obviously there's always money involved, obviously, or resources. But in this particular case, my suspicion is that there is money or resources fueling this from other people. So it will be interesting to see where the money is coming from that is supporting this, or who stands to make money from this, from removing the current leadership out of government and taking over. Short-sightedness. Okay. Now, with that said, since the moon has already moved past those fourth house planets, it's the only aspect that the moon has left to make. It's going to be a trine to Venus and Pluto. Now, in theory, this would mean that one, it would be a successful coup, which it was. And the other, this also indicates that this may be a long-standing effect. So we've essentially got a very wide, loose grand trine that's been in operation, with the moon making its final aspect to a trine to Venus and Pluto. Now, this could theoretically mean that some type of compromise or negotiation or reinstatement of power to the queen in this situation will occur before this is all over. Also, I say this because Mercury is retrograde. So, and not only is Mercury's retrograde is not really making any aspects. It's just kind of spinning its wheels, right? It's void of course. So, I mean, if you're going to plan a coup, there are much better, more supportive aspects to plan that kind of party for. Just saying. So, with that said, there's that. Now, the thing about it is, Uranus will come to the fourth house cusp in about 2 months. Pluto will join that ascendant, or the ascendant's going to come down to Pluto in about 3. And Pluto and Venus, which represents our queen, is going to come together in about 4. And the moon is exactly trine the ascendant, which we expect, but it also will come down to Pluto in about 3 months. So we're looking at 3 to 4 months from now. So February, March, April, May. We'll have to check the aspects for May when it comes up. So there should be some change in the playing field come May that will solidify people into position and set the scene moving forward for the next year or 2 years, 3 years. So they may be announcing that they're taking over for the next year. Oh, by the way, President, just taking over your government for the next year. That may be their intention, and certainly that's their announcement. But how this actually plays out is a whole other conversation that we'll be having again. Not only by the time Mercury goes direct, which will be, we know, in the middle of February. So we've only got a couple of weeks before there's some type of big discussion and negotiation, and possibly some recalibration of plans that go with this, but also within 3 months. So yeah, it's like 2 to 4, like 2, 3, and 4 months, right? So February, March, April, May. March, April, and May will be big months for this coup and what's going to come from it. Now, will it stick is the next question. Will it stick? I don't think so. I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because the fourth house cusp, right, which represents the people, the masses, right, the general public. Sorry, no stitching now. Ooh. Is going to come to that fourth house cusp in about in about 2 months. 2 months, March, April. So come April, May, and that's totally going to shake everything up. Now, as that's happening at the same time, we've got Pluto coming to that ascendant. So this whole coup, this attempted coup, may be over in 2 months. Or the people who have started the coup may be finding themselves taken over by somebody else. It will be interesting to see how this plays out. So let's keep an eye on that. And let's all do if you have some time, let's do our due diligence and find out what Myanmar is about, why this is important to the rest of the globe, and where the money is coming from, or who stands to benefit in terms of money and resources with the removal of leadership, who, remember, won by a popular landslide. Aung San, the people want her there. And the people in Burma right now, or Myanmar, whichever you're calling it, are really suffering and struggling already, just trying to eat, right, and survive. They want her as president. And this is clearly not in the best interest of a small group of people who, in this case, happen to have the services of people with guns. So let's take a look at that. And I just want to finish here with a caveat, and that is that we don't know the exact time that the coup occurred. We do know that it was definitely 5:30 or a little bit earlier. So I'm going to stick with the 5:30 a.m. time, but because it's not an accurate true time that we know of, that we can confirm, it is entirely possible that my timing is off by a month or two. So I still think I'm within the ballpark. Sorry. All kinds of itches. I still think I'm within the ballpark by a month or two on either side. The Mercury station is dead on. Like, that's not affected by the angles. So the Mercury station in late February, I think it's the 21st, like the second or third week of February, when that occurs, that will also quincunx the moon in the chart for the coup. So there will definitely be some recalibration, renegotiations, and or some sacrifices that have to be made to the original plans. So if they make it through this month, intact, without having this breakdown even more into other sub coups, I guess you would call it, right? Little uprisings within the uprising. It will. We've only got until early summer, like late spring, early summer, to find out how the rest of this plays out. All right. And hey, if you know anything about Burma and what's going on with the country and why it's important and why we should know about it, why we're even needing to know about it now, please, by all means, put something down in the comments and share with the rest of us. And don't forget to add your links for citations because we'd like to go back and read the original sources too.